started writing those, how did you come up with the titles?
Well, the titles are all based on, what the book is about. Andrew and the Pirates, obviously pirates. We've got Quick Draw Colin, that's Cowboys. Conductor Colin. Colin is my middle son, and just so we're clear that who that is. He is the villain in the Andrew books, but not in his own books, but he is the villain of the books that Andrew stars in, my son Colin, my youngest. But I came up with the titles by asking the kids what they wanted me to write about. I would say, hey, I'm going to start working on a new book. What do you want it to be about? And they go, oh, we want you to write a book about cowboys. Oh, we want you to write a book about the circus. Oh, we want you to write a book about pro wrestling. We want you to write a book about hockey. We want you to write a book about space. We want you to write a book about, and just whatever it is they wanted me to write about, that's what the book's about. I just make that, whatever topic they want, I make that work.
How many books do you have out?
There are 42 Color With Me adventures out currently. New book just came out, I'll say a week and a half. I'm not sure. I don't have the date in front of me. But the newest book came out a week and a half ago. So there are now 42 books in total. You should collect them all because they're all fantastic. I know I'm a little biased, but I think they're all fantastic. I thought maybe I had a picture of all of them, but I wasn't prepared enough for that. But there are 42. Check KeithWhiteJr.com, Amazon.com/author/Keith White Jr. You can also go to Barnes & Noble's website, Record Tower Record. Tower Record sells them. Books A Million. And then locally at Dog Ears Books and the Bookworm. Any bookstore, even if they don't have it on the shelf, some of the Barnes and Nobles in the area have them. Like we were at the one over in Niagara Falls Boulevard. They had a bunch of them on the shelf. And I actually signed the ones in the store. Like I went and I waited till they weren't watching, and then I autographed all the ones they had on the shelf. So if someone buys one, they're buying an autographed one without even knowing it. But we went over to the one by the McKinley Mall, and they don't stock them. So it really depends on which store you're in. But if they don't have it, they can order it. And, take a little bit of time to special order it in, obviously. But they will order it in if need be.
And Ron puts in all the music and stuff like that on mine.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard your theme song and I kind of like it too.
Oh yes, that theme song is done by Hang On, Get Ready. He is a local musical artist. He does music that's I believe they call it chip tunes. It's sounds like an old video game music. Like it sounds like it would be from a Nintendo game or a Sega game or something. I wish I knew more about the chiptunes world, but I don't. But that's his Hang On, Get Ready. You can find him hangongetready.rocks, I believe is his website. You can go there. You can download music. You can hear the song that we use on the show or any of his other songs. He's got a couple albums full of songs out, so I would absolutely recommend people check him out. Also, you'll hear his music in some actual video games, including there's a game called Shoot Shimi, which I wrote a book based on that video game, which is also one of the Color With Me adventures. He did the music for that. It's Neon Deity Games. They've got a bunch of games out for Xbox, PlayStation, Switch. They had some games on the Wii U, but he does music for them as well. So we were very lucky to get him to get his music for our show, and I'll let him know that you liked the song.
Have you seen any of my episodes on YouTube?
Yes, I saw. While I haven't seen any of your recent episodes, because every time I talk to you, I ask you to get a new episode, and you're like, Ron's working on it, and then I don't ever hear anything else about it. So I did watch some of your episodes a while ago. I don't know. I would assume, just by the way this show's going, I would assume they're, still going with the same flow that they did then, where, you have interviews with people, and then they say things back, and then, Ron adds music and graphics in.
And like on your show, you have like a song in the beginning, and like you have like that little thing that bounces around, whatever, on at the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the logo for the show and with the same. It's actually the same song that plays at the beginning and the end. You just get a longer version of the song at the end, and it's a different. It starts at a different point than it does at the beginning of the show, but that's actually the same song at the beginning and the end. We use that same song, kind of bookends the show together nicely. And then we got the little graphic for the album that you can get the song off of, so that anybody who wants to check out the song or the whole album can see it right at the end of the episode where to go to get it, and they should, because it's excellent.
And like I have a logo on mine.
Mm-hmm. I've seen it. Yes, I like it.
But Ron puts like the little microphone at the end instead of my logo and makes it. I like to have it bounce around on the.
Then tell him.
On the screen.
Tell him. Say, I want it to bounce around. I want my logo to bounce around the screen. Ron, get it done. I'm the talent. You're the producer. Get it done.
And then
get it done, Ron.
In some of my episodes, he has like a rock theme going.
Mm-hmm.
And then I heard on one of his episodes he has like a news theme thing going, and I kind of like that one.
Tell him you want something like that. Why are you telling me? You got to tell him. I'm not the producer of your show. I don't have anything to do with the editing process of your show. I do all the editing on my show. Ron doesn't do any of that. I do all that on my show. I do the editing and the graphics. I was actually doing that just before we started on here. I was working on an episode. I go through and I had the little Twitter handle at the top of the screen and the little graphics with our names and all that stuff. And it's actually kind of a pain, but it looks nice.
Yeah, like I told Ron before, like put my little Twitter handle there or something.
Absolutely.
So like I don't have to say it all the time either.
Well, you can. I say that on Tavern Talk. I still say you can find us at Tavern Talk 716 on Twitter, at Tavern Talk 716, but it's still up at the top. But you know, they say learning is repetition and repetition is learning. The more you tell people things, the more they'll remember it. So the fact that if you watch our show, I say you're watching Tavern Talk 716 quite often during the show, because then it sticks in people's minds. It's all about knowing what to say to get it to stick in people's minds. Also, I like to say Color With Me Adventures are available at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, you know, the Dog Ears Books in South Buffalo, or the Bookworm in East Aurora. That's Color With Me Adventures by Keith White Jr. That's me, international best-selling children's author, Keith White Jr. But you gotta throw it out there, because you know sometimes people watch your show and all they do is listen to the audio. There are people who are going to use YouTube Radio or whatever YouTube calls their audio platform, and they may just listen to your show while they're driving. And if they do that, they're not going to see the little Twitter handle on the screen. So you got to say at Tavern Talk 716 or at Keith White Jr., Keef White Jr. on Twitter. That's me. And you are?
At Robby 39 Bowler.
Boom, just like that. You see, I throw it to you, you say it. You say it enough times, people will remember it. Even if they don't know they remember it, the next time they're on Twitter, they might search it out because they remembered hearing you say it so many times. You should say it all the time. And ask your guests what theirs are too, because people love to promote themselves. So you got to give the guests an opportunity to promote themselves, and then you can also promote yourself in the meantime while, you know, in the midst of it. They'll say, oh, hey, you want to know mine? Okay, here's my Twitter handle. And you go, oh, and here's mine too. And you get that out there, you see. Ron should be teaching you all this, though, not me. He's your producer. I shouldn't be teaching you any of this. I'm just talent. I'd rather be a guest on shows than host my own show, honestly. I enjoy Tavern Talk 716 every Monday on YouTube, but I would prefer to be a guest on other people's shows. If I could just start every Monday instead of going on my own show, just go on someone else's show every Monday, and it's a different show each week. Like I do one show this week, then next week I'm on a different show. A week after that I'm on a different show. That would be awesome. Instead of just being on mine every time.
Yeah.
That would be great. Like I like being on your show. I'm having a good time being the guest on your show. This is fun.
And like Duran is pretty.
Duran.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
He's hungry like the wolf. That was a Duran joke, the band.
Yeah, and he like he hasn't like
aged well. I agree.
Yeah, he didn't. And like sometimes he talks on your show like he I mean he was a wrestler before.
He was a pro wrestler. He wrestled all over the country. Mm-hmm. He did. He wrestled actually many moons ago now. He was wrestling in, I want to say it was Michigan. He was wrestling for a company in Michigan, and he couldn't make a show. I think it was a snowstorm, and he couldn't make it to Michigan for the show. So they needed, for their television show, because they had an actual TV show on TV in Michigan, they needed a reason why he couldn't make the show. So he had to do this video where his doctor wouldn't clear him to wrestle. So in the video, I was his doctor. And I had like a clipboard, and I was just like, no, Mr. Morocco can't wrestle. You see, I have all the files right here. He's sick. He's got a broken arm, I think. And he had like a cast on his leg. And I was like, he's got a broken arm. He can't wrestle. So I got to play a doctor on television in Michigan. So there's something that I don't talk about very often that you just got out of me on your show, Robby. That's good investigative journalism right there. I one time played a doctor on a wrestling TV show in Michigan.
And like, what was Duran's nickname?
He is a wrestler. He was Salvatore Morocco was his wrestling name, and his nickname was the Main Event. So he was the Main Event, Salvatore Morocco. And between you and me, he was also masked superstar Tango Torres. That's just between you and me, though. So he was also a masked wrestler named Tango Torres that he wrestled, and he was a good guy as Tango Torres and a bad guy as Salvatore Morocco. And Tango Torres is actually in almost all of the Color With Me adventure books. You can find Tango Torres within the pages of these chapter books with pictures to color in between the chapters. What's that book? Where can we find you? Oh, well, I'm glad you asked, Andrew and the Pirates, A Color With Me Adventure by Keith White Jr. We can find you at Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, Tower Records, in East Aurora at The Bookworm, or in South Buffalo at Dog Ear Books, or anywhere your favorite books are sold. They'll order these bad boys in for you, lickety-split, and get them right on the shelf. And if you do buy one of these and you want to get it autographed, or you just want to show me you bought it, or you want to tell me how much you loved it or how much you hated it, as long as you're talking about it, I don't care. You can find me on Twitter at Keith White Jr., but Keith on Twitter is spelled Keef White Jr. You can also find me at KeithWhiteJr.com. I feel like I promote things, you get lost. I start talking about my books and I promote things, and then I throw back to you. I feel like you're completely lost. Am I losing you when I do that?
No.
Okay, good. KeithWhiteJr.com.
Sometimes on your show you talk about comic books or action figures sometimes.
We do. We do talk action figures, comic books, pro wrestling, beer. We do talk sports once in a great while. We'll talk sports, but we're not very knowledgeable in sports, so we're kind of casual sports talk from the outside looking in. But we do it. It's there. So, you know, a little bit of everything. We try to do a little bit of everything for everyone, just so that no matter what you're into, you can watch the show. And what you may not like this particular topic, but you may like a topic we have later, or you may like a topic in the last episode. We try to, you know, have a little bit of everything for everybody. Oh, we talk video games as well.
And like, what video games do you talk about on your show?
A little bit of everything. You watch the show, Robby. You watch it. Duran, I almost called him Ron. Duran likes to talk about Resident Evil because that's about all he plays is Resident Evil for PlayStation. I will talk about a few different games. I'm currently making my way through all the Tony Hawk games. I just finished Tony Hawk 2X on the Xbox. Now I'm playing Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3. But I'm working my way through all the Tony Hawk games. So that's my current adventure in video games. But, you know, I play just about everything, so I'll talk about any video game.
And, like, when you do your books,
mm-hmm.
How long does it take you to finish them?
It's different with every book. It depends. I don't, you know, people generally do ask how I, you know, my process and the time. It's different. I don't write books the same way twice. I don't illustrate them the same way. Some books I start with a title and I work from the title. Some books, the title is the last thing I do. There are books where I start with an ending and then work backwards. There are books where I start and I have no idea how the book's going to end when I start writing. I just start writing and I let the book write itself. Sometimes I do the whole book, then I do the illustrations. Other times I do all the illustrations, then I write a book around the illustrations. So no, it's never the same twice. It really is all about how I'm feeling about it and what I've got in my brain rattling around. But when I first started writing, it takes longer now, but the first book that I wrote, Andrew and the Pirates, from start to finish, I was done with the entire book in 1 month. Start to finish, and it was on bookshelves in 1 month.
That's cool.
Thank you. I don't know how long the show goes, Robby. I don't mean to interrupt you. I don't know how long the show goes, but I did just get an alert that the battery on my phone is creeping up on a low number. So I don't know how long we do this for. I'm happy to stay until I disappear because my battery dies. But just so you know, at some point I may disappear because my battery died. I know it looks very Hollywood fancy and illustrious in what I'm doing, but I'm just on my phone. And I feel like I got a little light here set up. I feel like it's reflecting on my glasses. I don't know how I feel about it. I may not use that light in the future.
Yeah, it kind of is reflecting off your glasses.
See? There it is. That's why I've been turning my head sideways so that you don't see this.
Yeah.
So I may not use that light in the future. I don't know. But this is new. I haven't done an interview like this in my office before. So I know everybody's doing interviews during the corona, but I haven't really been doing them. I've had a few requests, and I've mostly said that I wasn't interested. But I didn't turn you down, Robby, so I'm here. So this is new for me. I actually am enjoying it, though, so maybe I will not turn people down from here on out. You looking for a guest? KeithWhiteJr.com or Keith White Jr. on Twitter. Find me. I'll be your guest on your show, everybody. This guy and these books will come on your show from this office.
And I'd be a guest on your show.
You could be a guest on my show once the shows are back to taverns. We don't do Zoom guests on my show.
Yeah.
Duran and I decided a long time ago. This is a conversation I've had with Ron actually multiple times. This is like a real conversation I've had with Ron. Not one of these like, Ron, you suck kind of conversations. But a real conversation I did have with Ron was that we, as a unit, Duran and I decided that until we're back in taverns doing a real show, we weren't going to have guests. We're just going to do the show. It's going to give us a chance to, figure out a format and get more comfortable with the way we chat with each other in front of a camera and figure out our lighting, figure out our microphones, get that flag that we have up now, and just kind of make the show what we want it to be before we're back in bars. So we decided not to have guests. We probably could have gotten a lot of them because everybody's available because of this corona. Like, you can get guests. It's not a problem. We just decided that for us, it was better to figure out what we want the show to be before we're pulling other people into the show as guests or whatever. So once we're back in taverns, I do want to have guests. I want them live though. I don't like this is fun. I'm having a good time, and I shouldn't say I don't like Zoom calls because we're doing one right now. But on our show, it just doesn't work as well to do Zoom, especially because there's two of us. It just doesn't. I don't know. With the two of us sitting the way we do, and we're just in this little tiny box, it just doesn't work as well for us. It works better on a one-on-one like we're doing. But I mean, that's just my show. Every show is different. There are like Ron, if Ron was doing shows without guests, I don't know that he'd have any more than like 35 seconds of material. Not because there isn't material, but there's nothing going on in the world. So like he has a guest and then he's got someone to interact with and talk with and spitball with and chit chat with. But if it was just him sitting there, that wouldn't be the same show. So for him, the guests are the better way to go. For us, I don't feel that it is. Ron.
Yeah. Like on his show, he would talk like with sports people or sports characters and
yes,
stuff.
absolutely, and for him that's better. That's his show is a sports show. Your show is a sports show. It makes more sense for a sports show to have guests than do Zoom calls when you can do them. It makes more sense. It's just our show. It doesn't make the same kind of sense for us.
And like that one time you called Ron.
Right. Yeah, we tried one time and he didn't answer.
And like he didn't answer you. Didn't he ever tell you why he didn't answer?
Because he was trying to replace us. He didn't answer because he was trying to replace us. He was probably busy filming the commercial that he put in the middle of the show where he wanted to replace us.
And then,
I don't know. We didn't. I'm going to let you in on a little secret, Robby. This is just a little inside knowledge into Hollywood, okay? We didn't really try to call Ron. That was all pretend. I just made that little screen that looked like he didn't answer. I just made that on the computer. It was all pretend.
That's cool.
Yeah, no, it's just part of the show. We all, that's what Ron does too. We all just play characters on the show. That's the fun of our show, is that we're all just playing like characters that are based on us, just turned way up. Like turned it up to 11. That's us. And you get Ron is playing the producer. The dumb producer. That's what he plays on our show. That's his character. Duran is the egotistical ex-retired athlete. And I am the always promoting himself children's author who thinks he's better than everybody. I don't really think that, but on the show, on the Tavern Talk show, I do. Because that's the fun of it. And when we're back in taverns, we may not play those characters anymore, but for now it's fun because it's Corona times. Nothing's the way it should be.
Yeah, it's like some of the restaurants you have to be seated at every other table or.
Mm-hmm. Yep, went out to a restaurant today. It was they could only have 23 people in the whole restaurant. Mm-hmm. So nothing is the way that it was. And for now, Tavern Talk is a half-hour caricature of what it could be. It's just me and Duran playing characters on TV and having fun with it. And whether when it ends, we go back to the bars and we go back to being ourselves, or maybe we just take those characters with us to the bars and play those same characters still because they're fun. I don't know. We'll see.
And
What's that, Robby? You want to know more about my books? Oh, all right. Well, you don't have to twist my arm, buddy. So these are this is Andrew and the Pirates, the one you've seen quite a few times. This is Conductor Colin, Big Top Andrew, and this one is Sherlock Andrew and the Book Thief. These are Color With Me adventure books. They are chapter books with pictures to color in between each chapter. It gives the kid reading. He can read a chapter, and then he can take a break. It gives him a chance to relax his brain a little bit. He can color a picture based on what he read. Coloring the picture helps him to retain what he read, and then he can continue on and find out what's going on in the story. It makes him feel like he's part of the story because he got to color the pictures, he got to choose the colors, he got to add. That's another thing. All the pictures have a little extra space generally in the picture, so that you can add whatever you want to the picture. I know it's there we go. You can add whatever you want to. You want to draw a little extras. Maybe you read something in the chapter that isn't in the picture. You want to add it. You can. We did a book signing once at a school, and the kids we read, which book was it? It was Captain Colin and the Andrew Avenger. We read to the kids. It's a superhero book. And then we gave the kids all coloring sheets from one of the chapters, and they got to color the pictures. And many of the kids added lots of stuff to the picture that they had heard in the chapter, like they added some of the henchmen, or they added a bad guy hiding behind a lamp, or whatever. They just, because they used their imagination from what they heard, and then they feel like they're more a part of the story, and they remember what they read, and they want to continue reading. And reading is fundamental, and in today's day and age, it's real hard to get kids to read. So any little extra push you can give them to get them in front of a book is a win in my book. So, and these are my books. Amazon.com, KeithWhiteJr.com, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, anywhere books are sold.
And
I should use this as the picture of me on the back of the book.
And you can find me on Twitter at Robby39Bowler.
There you go. That's how you got to do it, Robby. That's how you do it. Oh, is that your Twitter handle? I'll give them mine as well. You can find me at Keith White Jr., Keef White Jr. on Twitter, KeithWhiteJr.com. You can find Tavern Talk on Twitter at Tavern Talk 716. We drop those shows every Monday, usually at midnight. So I would say Monday nights, but they drop as soon as Monday hits. We generally tweet out when a new episode drops. Sometimes I forget, but they're there. And and my books are right here. Pick them up. You know what? One more thing I haven't said about my books, Robby, is that I know I told you that the Nickel T. Buffalo book, 100% of those proceeds go to BB&G charities. My other books, I actually, whenever I get a royalty check from book sales, we actually use that money to buy books that we donate. So I don't technically make any money as an author because all the money I make from book sales, every royalty check I get, we take that money, we buy books, and then we donate those books for kids who can't afford books. So any book you buy with my name on it, that money is going to some child needy somewhere. Doesn't matter which book, whether it's the BB&G charity book or any of my books. That money that goes to me will go to some child who needs a book, because I don't feel there's a need for me to make money off of these books. I don't write them to make money. So any money that I make goes right to donating. So, and which is great. We went to school one time, and every kid at the school who I saw got a free book. So they all left with a book, and I autographed every single book. I sat there for as long as they needed to. Every kid who wanted a picture got one. Every kid who wanted an autograph got one. That's what we do. So.
And my shows drop on Thursdays.
Thursdays you get Let's Talk 716, the sports show starring Robby. That's a long title, but I like it. All right. You want me to sign us out here? You seem like you weren't sure where to go. You want me to do it?
Yeah, you go first.
All right. So I am international best-selling children's author Keith White Jr., author of 42 Color With Me adventure books, which you can pick up at any bookstore. You can watch this entire episode. You can find out probably 70 or 80 times where to get them, so you know where to find them. That next to me is
at Robby39 Bowler on Twitter, and at Let's Talk 716 Sports Show on YouTube.
And that's where you'll find the show, and that's where you'll find him. He is Robby. I am Keith. This has been Let's Talk 716, the sports show starring Robby. And you have a good night, everybody.